I didn't know why I hated to clean my room. I just knew that it was an impossible task, and I would sit in my room miserable until I would get into my dream world, and then I'd be daydreaming, and then my mother would walk in going, "What have you done? You've done nothing." And I would spend all day Saturday in that messy room, not moving forward. So, if I had a daughter with ADHD, the first thing I would stop doing is yelling at her. Because it doesn't help, and it's just traumatizing. I know we're frustrating and certainly could use a little bit of yelling, but it doesn't help. If you have a little girl with ADHD and you want her to clean her room, the last thing you want to do is send her in that tornado of a room saying, "Go clean your room right now, clean your room." Because our organized or disorganized minds do not create these organized systems. So you as the grown-up need to help them develop these systems. And ADHD kids are so creative. They make, they go. And then they turn around and they've created a mess, right? Glue, paper, scissors, whatever their project was, everything they needed is left out. The tops are off. Everything is where it is, but they've created something, and that's been exciting for them to hyper-focus on. Now they have to learn how to put things back in their homes. And it's going to take a lot of help and a lot of work. So if I had a little girl who had a messy room, who needed to clean it on Saturday mornings, I would walk into the room and I would have a trash bag in my hand, and I would say, "I know you don't like to clean your room, but it is something that everyone has to learn to do. So let's start like this." And I would have a visual chart that breaks the tasks down, and I would put it on the back of the door. And on Saturdays, we would check them off. But the idea would be, or every night, we'd have a tidy up thing. But the idea is that kid doesn't know what to do. And you go, "I've told them a million times," and yes, they do know what to do. No, they don't. They need to be reminded. And they need to be reminded nicely, which is really going to make you frustrated because you've already done things nicely 100 times. And I think you need to do them one more time. This is annoying me. Okay. I would go into the room and I'd say, "First thing you need to do is find every bit of trash and put it in this bag. I'll be back in 10 minutes. See how much trash you can find." Because you've just given them a home for something and a task that they can accomplish that makes sense to them. Take the trash and put it in the trash bag. Then I'd go back into the room and say, "Hey, great job. Look at all this trash." And then I would look around the room and I'd say, "Okay, look at all these dirty clothes. I need your help. Take all these dirty clothes, put them right outside the door or in the hamper, whatever you do in your house. And we'll get to washing those later. We got to get all your dirty clothes out of here." And you start with shoes, or then you do board games, or you do whatever it is, whatever the steps are that your child needs help with. And I have parents that go, "Oh, I've tried that." You have to try it nicely, and you go step by step. And if the trash is too big of a task, right? "I told them to go pick up the trash, that's all." Then go, "Okay, find me all the trash on top of the dresser." Get that specific. Make every task broken down into steps that they can handle. Help them through the process of developing organizational systems. It's a lot. It's so much more than you know because your brain does it for you. Shoes need a home. Clothes need a home. Toys need a home. The glue, the scissors, the papers, they all need homes. It helps them get through the process. If you give them a huge task, like to go clean the kitchen, it's not going to go well. If you say, "Go into the kitchen, put all the dishes in the sink, and wipe down all the counters," you have a much better chance of getting the tasks completed. So if I had a little girl, I would create that task list. How to clean my bedroom, where to start. I would hand them the trash bag. I would point out the homes. Do you see that shoe tree? It's missing all its shoes. How long would that take? The ADHD kid doesn't have good time management skills. In their head, it's this insurmountable task. But once they start one portion, they find that it only takes a few seconds. But their brains are spinning out on the different parts of the task. They're not thinking the same way a typical mind thinks. We're going to help that little girl out by giving her the specifics of it, showing her where the homes are for all of the items, helping her create homes for items. Because if you leave her in that room and you go off to say, I'll be back in an hour, 57 minutes of that hour will be spent thinking of wonderful things we could be doing, or rearranging the furniture to make it more fun to jump from the bed to the top of the dresser. And then from the top of the dresser, you could slide over to the vanity if you were wearing socks. I had so much fun building things and jumping and creating. I used to pretend it was a high wire act. But I wasn't sitting there going, where do my shoes go? Where should these papers be? I don't even have a desk. What do I do with all this stuff? So it just stayed there while I lived in my head. It did not go well for me or my mother. So if you do have a little girl with ADHD, you have a magical kid who needs a little bit of reality brought into their world, and that is what you can do for them.